The reason we're seeing a wave of new venues and renovations and even moves is because we're really at that time frame where teams are in venues that are really kind of getting long in the tooth, and they need to make a decision whether or not they're going to rinse and repeat with the renovation or if they're going to choose a whole new venue that is dedicated to them in a new location potentially. And the reason is we're about 25 to 30 years past the 90s when many new venues were developed that were specific to a sport. We've got about 33 leases ending between now and 2030. And so it's a huge time of change in the industry. NBA and NHL teams essentially want to have their own home venues. So control is key, and that helps generate potentially more revenue for the team if they control their venue. It also potentially opens up calendar opportunities for concerts and family shows and other kinds of things where they could generate more revenue. The NBA and NHL seasons do happen on top of each other, and so it makes hosting concerts and other things a lot more difficult for that market, for that venue. They just want to control their own venue and their destiny, and so that is a motivating factor. Certainly, the ownership of the building always has some impact on the situation. There's still going to tend to be a primary and a secondary anchor tenant, but certainly where you have private ownership, which you do in many of these markets, one of the teams is going to own and control the situation. Mixed-use districts, first off, are critical to keep the area activated throughout the year. If you have a sports tenant and there are a limited number of home games, and so what are you going to do the rest of the year? There absolutely have to be a critical mass of elements and use types that keep people coming and going. So what are those things? Those things often are additional entertainment venues. That's a huge thing that can keep smaller, flexible event venues that can add another 80 to 120 event nights per year. Of course, a critical mass of restaurants and bars, residential and office and hotel around there. The more asset classes you put in there is going to be absolutely compelling and required. Those other entertainment venues that drive more event demand and also keep the content fresh, of course, every time they do an event, that's going to be driving new people, different demographics, depending on what the event is, into those districts. So all of those things are part of the secret sauce. What we're seeing with premium is your guests all want different types of experiences. Some want an on-the-field experience. We're seeing a lot of corner or bunker suites or 50-yard line opportunities and clubs coming into the fore, which are extremely popular and can sell for very high dollar amounts. Suites actually will always have a place, but the size and scale, having a half-size suite, a single full suite, a double-size suite, and also having an opportunity for one or two games versus an entire season. If they're not a huge company and you're not a huge market, how are you going to actually keep that suite filled the entire time? If you provide all of these hybrid options, we have found that people are reacting positively to that. A focus section that'll be unique to ALSD that's going to focus on the Power 5 conferences in college and where they've been and where they're headed kind of thing, as well as some interesting pre-game and news sort of traditions. Colleges, universities, and pro teams are getting more and more creative with their pre-game tailgating and other opportunities like that. So that will be to come.